Madam President, you're very welcome to our chamber, and delighted to see your ambassador here as well. I had lots of things written down here on paper that I was going to say, but they've all stolen my words, so I've got to ad-lib from here on. I went to Cyprus in 1972, long before most people in this room were born. I remember fondly swimming in January off the coast of Cyprus. What a wonderful place. Limassol, Larnaca, Paphos, all places I loved while I was there. The beautiful city of Famagusta, which now is in ruins, or at least deserted. And this is what happens when people do illegal things and enter a place where they're not welcome. One of the things I'd like to address today, because you are in a post-conflict situation, not unlike ourselves. And one of the key things we need to remember is in a post-conflict state, you have the issue of moral injury. And this is where people carried out deeds that they ordinarily would not carry out in normal life. And the victims of moral injury is not just the individual, but it passes down through the family. Generally speaking, you will find that the ones who suffered most, certainly in Ireland, and I'm sure it's the same in Cyprus, were the wives of men who carried out various things in their time. But we're finding now that this moral injury passes through the generations. And you'll find that it goes from father and wife down through the family, and indeed, in some cases, women that were involved in conflict. And it passes right down through the children. Alcoholism, drug addiction, all of these things take place. So I would ask you to bring that back to Cyprus and to look at that and how it might be affecting particularly Greek Cypriots. We talked about cooperation between Ireland and Cyprus. There's an old story going around that in 1964, when the Irish Defence Forces went to Cyprus, there were some Cypriots working for the Irish Defence Forces, and one of our officers decided that they hadn't enough to do and taught them how to sow potatoes. And they did it so well, they finished up selling them back to Ireland, and you have a tremendous potato trade. If that's true, we want some sort of recompense for all the money you've made out of that down through the years. It was a wonderful place, and I really do want to go back there. Ever since your ambassador was appointed here, and I'm actually disgusted to hear that you're going away. You should stay. You're entitled to 2 more years because of COVID. So from that point of view, I would like to see the ambassador stay here for another 2 years. She's done a huge amount of work in promoting your country. The peacekeeping issue, you mentioned in your speech the United Nations Security Council. It's no secret in this country that I am not a fan of the United Nations Security Council. I see it as a useless organisation dominated by a number of very powerful countries that have a veto. And I would ask that you bring back to your Parliament that when we talk about the United Nations Security Council, we talk about the reform of the Security Council, that we do away with the veto, that we cannot have countries like Russia, the United States, the UK, France, having a veto over decisions that are made by smaller countries. My colleague Joe O'Reilly spoke about our cooperation in the European Union. The exit of Britain, or Brexit as it's known, has caused huge problems, particularly for small countries. And it is going to become vitally important that we work together to understand each other's needs in order that we can maximise our membership of the European Union. And again, your presence here underpins that sort of relationship. So I'm going to be unusual now and finish on time. So Madam President, you're more than welcome. Thank you very much for visiting us. And I do hope to see Cyprus, unfortunately not with that body to die for that I had in 1972, but I'll go as a rather rotund, follically challenged old man. Thank you.
You mightn't be alone in that, he mightn't be alone in that, but thank you for giving us a wonderful whistle-stop tour of Cyprus, Senator Craughwell.